that's right, last time.
It cannot be worse.
Unless they're all the same.
That's true. Which we did have a horrible summer.
We can accommodate the same.
Like slowly go through the
Oh
house.
my gosh, my husband was in all three of them.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm about to die. No, it's horrible. It's horrible. Oh, yeah.
This is a school board meeting held in public. The following rules that we will follow tonight are accepted from past practice and board policy. While discussing non-action agenda items, the board president may recognize any person who desires to speak on such an agenda item. In any situation, the chairperson will limit the time of any presentation to 3 minutes, and if there are numerous requests to address the board on the same subject, the chairman may select representatives to speak on each side of an issue. Individuals who signed up to speak before the meeting may be called upon to speak. Please begin by stating your name and SACS affiliation. If you're not willing to do so, simply decline your right to speak and I will move to the next person selected. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak and that will be officially timed for fairness to all. We will begin the meeting with communications from Dr. Ginder.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. We're going to start with a report on our construction here at the high school from Mr. Wilhelm and Hagerman Construction.
Thank you, Dr. Ginder, members of the board. So you should have in front of you the executive summary report, and just to walk through some of the progress photos. First of the Clee building, actually the Citadel building. Second photo, lower left, on the left-hand side there is a spirit store. You see photos of the progress on the locker rooms are complete, and the lunchroom, team room, lower left. On the back side of your first page is a legend or a key unit plan showing units A through H. Kind of give you a little map to follow through with the photos. So the progress photos there of the new competition gym, the attendance office, and corridor. You see finishes progressing there. And on the back side, the auditorium, and we'll see more progress video here with the drone video shortly, but progress on the auditorium and foundations in phase 3. And actually an update on the Citadel building, we do have final inspections complete. We have one more to go, and then the C of O, or certificate of occupancy, will be done this week, so be ready to occupy. So again, the Citadel building to the lower of the screen, and we're coming up on the west side of the competition gym. Inside the competition gym is painting, prime painting on the block has started. We're going to start dry fall paint of the structural here also this week. In April, you'll start seeing all the equipment going up, the backboards, curtains, center scoreboard, and then we'll start the floors and finishes in May. This is the E corridor outside the competition gym. That's the block for the trophy cases. This is the concession area. And again, this is from the west side, flying around the competition gym. The other auxiliary gym to the right of that. And then you'll see all the steel has been set. We're complete now with steel on phase 2. That area you see that's decked is the choir, band, orchestra rooms. And we're staging more insulation up on the deck to continue roofing. So everything that you see is bright and white is the new roof area that's completed. And then coming around to the auditorium area, which is a higher area, all the supporting areas for that, south of that, and then to the lower area is kind of what we call a grand hall, the main entrance to the auditorium, and also the admin offices there. In the lower area behind the green wall will be dance and TV audio area. This is a flight inside the auditorium. All the catwalks are up. All the block is laid in around the stage area. And then right now we're flying east over phase 3, which is the 2-story addition on the east side. We're about 50% on the foundations there. And then our first load of steel comes in 2 weeks. And we'll start setting from the north, heading south, just following foundations as they are. And that's just panned back from that inside corner. All the gyms are gym, auxiliary gym, and the band or choir orchestra area entrance would be. Any questions? We're tracking from what we last reported. I mean, the weather now is starting to break, so we're going to make some headway now, obviously. We are working 10s and Saturdays to make up for what we lost weather time. But, as long as we can maintain labor, maintain material deliveries, we're going to push as much as we can still. So we're pushing as hard as we can. Thank you for the opportunity. We enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. To continue on now, I have a long number of congratulations, beginning with dance, then show choir, then jazz band, then winter garden percussion, athletics, academics, and then finally the digital media program at the high school. Congratulations to the Homestead dance team for their great showing at Nationals. The varsity team placed 4th in the large varsity hip hop competition or division, the highest placement in this division in school history, along with 4th place in the large varsity jazz division. The team earned the NDA Go Be Great Award, recognizing their great love and partnership with our Champions Together dance team buddies. Champions Together and United Sports are activities where our special needs students are participating with typical peers in some way or another, whether it's coaching or playing, but it's a truly amazing program and really something for all of our community to be proud of. If you've seen those kids perform at our own Homestead dance competition, it's really a moving experience. It's really fun to watch. This prestigious award is reserved for teams that have had a positive impact in their schools and the lives of others. The buddies made a sign for their team prior to their send-off and had a watch party Friday night to watch them as they performed. The JV team won Grand National Champions at the JV Hip Hop Division, the highest placement in that division in school history, along with the 3rd place JV in Jazz Division. Congratulations also are in order to the Summit Middle School dance team on their state championship title in jazz and state runner-up in hip hop over the weekend. So congratulations to the Falcons. That's dance. Show choir. Congratulations to the Homestead Show Choirs. They've been sweeping their competition this season. Elite, our all-girls group, has attained 4 Grand National placements over the course of the season. Class Royale, our ladies and gents group, have attained 2 Grand Champion placements, and Anonymous Blue, our backup band, has received Best Band all 7 times. Class Act, the Summit Woodside Show Choir group, attained a Grand Champion placement along with Best Vocals and Best Choreography at South Dearborn a week ago. And their last competition, actually that was 2 weeks ago, and their last competition was this most recent Saturday at Garrett. Congratulations to our middle school students. Jazz band. The thing that you need to know about this is we were not competing in any way, shape, or form in jazz band until 2018. Homestead Jazz Bands competed first at the ISMA District Festival at Carroll earlier this month. Both Jazz 1 and Jazz 2 received a gold rating. Jazz 1 received a gold rating with distinction, securing them a spot in the state finals, which is this Friday at Pike High School. They will join 8 other outstanding bands, and if you want to see a good show, that's a great show to go to, whether it's the state finals for jazz or for orchestra. We've had our groups there the last couple of years. It's truly fantastic talent on display. Jazz 1 was selected as the first place honor band at the Larry McWilliams Division in the Jazz Festival at Ball State. We've been going to that just for a couple of years too. On to Winter Guard. Homestead's Winter Guard, if you think of Guard as flags and rifles, it's the auxiliary group that was with our marching band in the fall, but they perform as an individual group during the winter season indoors. Homestead's Winter Guard placed first out of 12 guards, most recently at a competition at Hamilton Southeastern. And the Homestead Winter Percussion Groups had its inaugural season a year ago and placed first this past weekend or recently at the Carroll High School competition. So those are big things for us there, and great job by kids and adults both. And I say adults because there's a lot of parents involved in those as auxiliary helpers. Athletics. You know, as I always tell kids, you can be a Spartan or you can be a loser. So, Homestead senior Ayanna Patterson was named the 2022 Indiana All-Star Miss Basketball. Congratulations, Ayanna. Earlier this year, Ayanna was named to the roster for the 2022 Girls McDonald's All-American Game, which is in Chicago this year. Homestead girls basketball coach Rod Parker was selected to coach the Indiana All-Star team, and that's a very big deal. Lastly, and also very cool for athletics, Homestead Spartans gymnast finished second in the state this past Saturday It's a state competition, which is quite a thing to be runner-up in the state of Indiana in gymnastics. The schools that are up in what we call the region, Valpo, Crown Point, that area, Chesterton, they tend to dominate that particular competition, and to finish second is truly outstanding. In academics, we do go to school. Carson Gagline was selected as one of 40 Indiana Academic All-Stars out of 289 nominations in the state. There are only 40, and Carson was one of those 40. Congratulations to Carson Gagline. And then lastly, I will not be reading, you have a document or a press release from our Homestead Media. I'm going to simplify that in my commendations. The Homestead Digital Media Program won TV/Video School of the Year and finished in radio. Last year we were number 1 in both of those. No surprise that the TV program took number 1. If you've watched any of our live programming, it's as good as you can imagine, especially when you consider the adults aren't anywhere near the cameras, the speakers, the production, none of it. Adam Schinkel, the lead teacher, is usually the voice at our home games. He's completely disengaged from the kids that are doing the programming. It's really kind of impressive. So turn your attention to that handout located at your seat for reference. That's really it. That's all I have for commendations. Thank you.
That's a wonderful list. We have great students, great leaders for our students, and they just absolutely do an amazing job, so thank you. And I know Mr. Uppergrove's got some thunder coming up. No, not yet, hold on. We got to do one thing first. But you got a list yourself, I know, coming up. So before that, let's do our consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the March 1st, 2022 meeting, bills, claims, payroll, and accounts, and personnel recommendations. Anybody have any changes to those? Mr. Gilpin needs to abstain from this vote. Hearing nothing else, we will consider the consent agenda passed. Now we have our report on co-curricular and extracurricular activities, and then we're starting with Mr. Uppergrove.
Thank you, President Mills. The financial statement you have in front of you, starts off with, it's the year 2021. The beginning balance is $250,000, or was $250,804. The ending balance, $269,563.86. For in income, we brought in $18,758.88. The revenue brought in. Let me go to the other page that you have in front of you. I have 3 pages that I put in front of you. We have boys sports, girls sports, and then our co-ed teams. You can see that our boys programs, just individual sports. What we did on this one was we brought in the receipts, the expenses, and then you can see the bottom line, net gain or loss with football, soccer, tennis, golf, wrestling, basketball, track, baseball. That's all the boys sports. Those teams brought in $20,401. If you look at the girls teams, volleyball, soccer, tennis, golf, gymnastics, basketball, track, softball, those teams combined lost $12,861. Then we go to our combined teams. These are the cross-country, swimming, our unified teams, and cheerleading. Those combined lost $7,821.29. For net loss, just sports, $281.20. That is not uncommon, and I often take this report and I compare it to the IHSA financial reports because I'd like to see where their sports are gaining money or losing money in the tournament. They obviously have to make money, but I compare some of these numbers and we're not too far off. They have losing sports just like we do. They are if you start at the sectionals, which we get some of that money back, that's where you can see on the IHSA section in there that we gain some money back from those. Not much, but across the board in high school sports, your basketballs, your footballs are what's gonna bring in money. Everybody else consistently loses money. We're fortunate here that we have a community that supports us with our fundraisers. They don't always come across the greatest, in my opinion, and we're always looking for something better to do, and I'm always looking at what others are doing and trying to improve that, but I tell you, our gold card that we sell, that thing itself really does pay for itself. We can, on any given year, bring in anywhere from $50,000 to $80,000, and I think during the 2020, when we had the COVID, we brought in, it was still around $18,000, $19,000 if my memory serves me correctly. So it's those types of things that keep us afloat and keep us going. Let me go on into the fun stuff. Any questions on the budget, first of all? Okay. Dr. Ginder gave you some great things that are happening, have recently happened. This is last year's recap, the 21-21 recap. I need those notes because I'll use those on next year's for this. But I'll just breeze through this quickly. It's worth mentioning these students and these teams. We had gymnastics, Gina Zerilli, last year 6th place in the all-around, 4th in the bars, 3rd place in the vault. She was state champion on the floor. With that and the rest of the team titles, how the team placed, we got a sectional title, a regional title, semi-state, or we weren't semi-state champions, sorry, there is no semi-state champion, but we did get state runner-up last year. And like Dr. Ginder said, we got state runner-up again this year. It's really neat to see those girls at practice and at meets. This year, there was a soccer ball in the at Woodside that was in the rafters. I walked in there, anybody that knows me, my sport's soccer. These girls, as I'm walking in, the soccer ball falls from the ceiling onto the floor right before their match, right before their meet. And they knew that thing, they've seen it since they've been here. And I'm talking to juniors at the time. That's been up there the whole time, Mr. Erpico. So, fast forward, they all signed it. It's their mascot. And I said, is it a Tom Hanks movie? They didn't know who that was. I said, watch the movie. So it's really boring, but watch it. In girls basketball, we had Ayanna Patterson, made first team All-State. She was All-SAC, committed to UConn. It says the boys basketball team, the girls basketball team finished a perfect 22-0 record in the regular season. It was ranked #1 in the state those last 6 weeks up until they lost in the tournament. Boys basketball, Fletcher Lawyer set records in free throw percentage at 79%, season high game of 50, consecutive free throws 36, and the team were the SAC champions and the sectional champions. Now I can fast forward to what Mr. Copley and I were talking about earlier. Ayanna received the Miss Basketball Award. We have Fletcher Lawyer in the running for that. Behind the scenes, if we would have beat Westfield, we think Fletcher would get that. We also thought that the Smith, I forget his first name, Smith young man, he's right there with Lawyer. Those two are battling for Mr. Basketball. They beat us, but not with his leadership, and they lost that night. It'll be interesting to see at the end of this tournament if we could have Mr. Basketball and Miss Basketball here at Homestead. I think our research said the same thing. It hasn't happened in the past, but we've been close before. We've been close, and hopefully this time maybe we can do it. So in spring sports, the girls, we had individual sectional champs, Addison Knoblaw, and right now she's on fire. This year, I can't wait, I'll give you the report next year, but she is on fire. She's gonna do great things for Homestead, and she's a great student, very great student. Grace Stedge, 400-meter run, Haley Avendor, high jump. The regionals, we were regional champions in the 4x4 and the 1600, and they're the young ladies' names there. Josie Gary, she won the her third straight regional in the pole vault. And then went on to state. And that girl does a lot of great things, and if you know her, she's a sweetheart also. They ended up sectional champs. Boys track placed second sectionals. Baseball, you can see all the accolades there. What a team we had last year. It'll be interesting this team to see what we do, but those batting averages by Caleb Colpine, Carter Matheson, those guys combined broke a lot of records. If we would not have missed the spring of baseball, we would have shattered records that I don't know if they would have been when they wouldn't have happened in my lifetime. But Matheson, and I hear he's doing awesome at IU. I hear he's doing real well. Several home runs and definitely part of their program. You have boys golf, they were sectional champs. Fell short of making it to the state finals by 3 strokes. And if you ever watch a golf team that knows that they're right there in it, and then at the very last couple holes, they drop a little bit, one bad hole, and that can happen. But I tell you, that team had the best, they were the best characters that represent us very well. We had a young man disqualify himself, and I forget the whole story. You remember the story? There's a young man, disqualified himself because he touched and moved the ball as he was addressing it. Nobody was around, nobody saw it. He picked up his ball, went and turned himself in. That's good leadership from our coach. That's good leadership and peer interaction. These guys are good kids, and they see that, and the rest of the team wants to be like that. That young man's back this year, and we're looking forward to seeing how that team improves this year. Girls golf team, Madison Beja, she was first team All-State, 4th place at state. Simone Sink, she was first team All-State, 5th at state, and the team was state runner-up. Can't get over that hump. State runner-ups, we'll get it. We've got several in the last few years. We'll get some more. Cross country, Addison Knobloch again, finished in the Homestead Girls Cross Country record, 5th place at the state meet. The team was 2nd place at regional, 1st place or sectional, 1st place at regional, 2nd place in the semi-state, and 6th place at state. Girls soccer team became the only 2nd team in state history to go completely undefeated, and 22-0 record on the way to the school's first state ever state championship. That was fun to watch. Being that soccer is my sport, that was fun to watch. And Mrs. Couch, you remember when your daughter was down there in state finals, it was exciting to be there. It really was. And those girls, they wanted it. And they were not going to, they weren't going to settle but get the state champion. Boys cross country, they were regional champions. Boys tennis, sectional champions. With only one senior, the boys won their 8th straight sectional and finished the season ranked 16th in the state. We had singles, Stephen Meyer qualified for the first team All-State, while doubles, Alex Graber and Matthew Otten were the 2nd team All-State. Football, their first team All-Conference. The individuals that were first team All-Conference with Nate Anderson, Jaden, and I can't pronounce his name. You know those 2 guys. That's it. Abalaka and Jackson Crispin. And volleyball, they were sectional champs. And that volleyball program watched that too, because they were sectional champs, and they only feel good about themselves, and they are a confident group. And I think they're gonna make a statement in northeastern Indiana anyway, if not across the state in the next couple of years. So with that, do you have any questions?
I want to thank you. The reports this year are incredible. You know, you've done a good job doing an actual financial statement, and one thing it points out is that you got a lot of money, and it's growing. Not sure that, I'm not sure you need to grow it. So I don't know if there's something, maybe you want to next year not do a bus transportation fee for everybody, to make it fair or something. But you probably have enough that you don't need to grow it anymore. I wouldn't worry about that. Doesn't look like something that's going to be in danger of running out. So.
I would tell you that one of the things that Mr. Uppergrove and I tried to do over the last 8 years is grow and protect our programs moving forward. There are very few schools that have this kind of balance. The schools that do tend to have raised that money back in the 70s. We were never in any concern during COVID when we didn't have people in the seats, whereas some of our partners did. there are many schools in the neighborhood who had to rely on the school board to get through the athletic season. So to his credit, our goal as a team when I was principal here was to build and protect that amount. And so some of that is on me as my encouragement to him.
When I started, we were 18,000 in the hole.
Wow.
And I appreciate that, because we're looking at, as this building project goes, everybody got touched somewhere, everybody. But there are things that we will forget and have forgotten and might cause us to go over budget. Our track team, they need high jump pit and a pole vault pit. It was ironic that they brought it up last spring. I said, well, I'll keep an eye open for deals. And one came across my desk, and it was, those things are, with the cover and our logo on it, can be $9,000 to $10,000. I think I'm gonna get it for around $8,000. It's gonna take a while to get here, but it's those types of things that I know are in the pipeline. A pole vault pit's $25,000. So, you know, over the next couple of years, you'll see those big hits in there as we need things. So I don't disagree. We do have the money. When the coaches come to me, they want for nothing. I mean, they give me the needs, their wish list, and their wants. No, their wants, needs, and their wishes. And oftentimes they're getting their wishes. I can definitely look at that for sure.
You're just doing a great job. That's amazing that you've built it up that well. Thank you.
Yeah, I just concur, Joe, known you a long time and just awesome job. I mean, I can remember the days where we'd sit with the dance marathon and Matthias and keep our fingers crossed that we'd make a lot of money on a fundraiser, and boy, if we didn't, watch out, right? And great job. I mean, Miss Patterson, state championship in soccer, finished #1 in the state, #2 in the nation. And Rick Link got the state or national coaches award. That's awesome. That's awesome. Great job. Great job. Thank you.
One of my favorite nights of the year. Thank you all for having us. And I don't know how far I can go. And I think, do you have the PowerPoint as well? Okay. So the first few slides, as always, are our summary from our SACS Music Boosters. And Angie Nichols does a phenomenal job putting this together, helping me with numbers every year. Reminder of their description, their mission statement, their goal. Here you'll see, and she used a pretty big word, the word terrible. I thought about changing that, but it does describe their feeling as the Music Booster Club when they did not receive their profits from fundraisers, etc. last year due to the pandemic. So you can see that there in that first bullet. In the second bullet, she describes in normal years, we typically exceed our nonprofit revenue goals by 15 to 18%. And then there below, she goes in detail about where those deficits were specifically. Year-end income, $31,306.18. Total budget allocation, you can see that number, $30,818. End of year bank account balance, $50,131.50. Sounds like they did okay, but then when we compare on the next slide to, this gets pretty tiny, so you probably want to look at your numbers. When we compare to previous years, you'll see where the deficits were. I guess deficit's probably not the right word. Our groups, our performing organizations did receive funding from the Music Boosters organization, but it was not the amount that they have been able to fund to help us out before. So they were great with what they were able to provide in the sense that their biggest fundraiser is concessions and not having the spectators in the stands and people buying food and drink. The concession profits were not there for them last year. Approved fundraising efforts, you'll see there, annual membership drive, annual discount cards, and concession stands, as we were just talking about. Membership drive would be to be a music booster at our school registrations. We have opportunities for parents to become booster supporters. And so that membership drive did well last year, but better this year. They're back on track. Annual discount card sales, we're back on track there. And concessions, you'll see on this next slide, we're feeling pretty good with what we're seeing this year as far as numbers. Even though we didn't have and didn't sell a lot, we sold a lot of candy and a lot of drinks, and they're feeling pretty good about their numbers. Planned budget allocation, you'll see there 83,700. Bank account balance, that 50,000, that was from July 1, the number you saw on the previous slide. And income as of March 10th, $95,797. And again, at the end of the year, those profits come back to each individual group. They fund dance, choir, band, orchestra. What am I missing? Those are all the big ones, and then all of the subgroups that fall below those. And then I think Angie's contact information is here. I'm happy to answer any easy questions that you might have tonight, but Angie would be the go-to for the nitty-gritty of those numbers. Questions? Don't worry, I'm not done. This is the fun part. So I tossed my slides aside after Dr. Ginder was presenting because he hit all the highlights, which is awesome. He hit all the highlights that I was going to hit on the slides, but it was great that we have those positives to share. So I'll just go through each of our slides and summarize and maybe tell you something new or exciting news for growth for each of the programs. So our marching band, our 34th consecutive state finals was this year. New director, not new this year, but newer director, Brian Moorfield's doing a great job continuing the tradition. We look forward to their meeting every Monday night already, planning for their new season, their next year's season, and are excited to hit the field and be great again next year. I did want to point out our student fees, $350. That's pretty low for a marching band. We're pretty proud of all the fundraisers that we're able to do. Last year it rained out our car wash, and yet our student fees did not go up because we had some money from the year prior saved back for that specific reason. So we were able to keep those fees low, and you compare to other groups in the state of Indiana, and that is a very nice fee for our students. Show choirs. Mr. Sherman helped me update this slide with some amazing photographs. They, as you heard in Dr. Ginder's report, they have done amazing this year and continue to do amazing no matter where they go. I think you've been to Ohio twice. And so in-state, out-of-state, they have been incredible. The 7 undefeated, I believe, for Anonymous Blue, and all of those individual grand championships. I do want to add also, it's not on the slide, they compete soloists as well. And at several of the competitions, our soloists have done well and won. And so individual as well as ensemble, incredible. They also fundraise. I will tell you every year that $1,500 looks high, but I will also tell you that that's very comparable and even low to several of the choirs around with costume changes, shoes, etc. We do a very good job keeping that cost low for our students as well. Oh, we did host, I didn't add this, Andrew. We did host, you wanna say it? The largest show choir competition in the country. Very proud of that, even with all of this construction going on. We had a lot of people in this building for over 48 hours, and our staff and our students did an amazing job, even with all the construction. We can't wait till next year. World's largest. Symphony Orchestra, another group that we're so proud of. They continue to grow and go to competitions, as Dr. Ginder mentioned also, and just excited about the opportunities that we allow those musicians. Those are typically musicians that aren't a part of jazz band or the concert bands or the marching band, but they have a different interest in music, a different interest in the type of music, the classical music. So excited that Mr. Warfield is able to provide that opportunity. You'll see some accolades up there, and we're looking forward to this year's ISMA competition as well. Our Winter Guard is under, sorry, that information's cut off a slide a little bit, but they are under new direction. We have two new directors, and they have some really exciting things going on. Sabrina Metter is the new director, and she reached out a couple weeks ago and asked if I would help her reach out to the elementary schools. She would like to start an enrichment program of winter guard, color guard in the elementary programs, so elementary schools. So 3 of our principals at the elementary level have jumped on board with that, and this spring and fall they're going to get that rolling. Sabrina's hope is that next year they have a JV winter guard, because they actually had to cut people this year from auditions. So they're hoping for a JV winter guard, and then they also in 2 years hope to have a middle school guard. So that's what that elementary program she's hoping to build, and then obviously that can only strengthen our high school program with those feeder programs. I skipped over. I was so excited about the building program, your growth of the program. They have this year under new direction even, and making the cuts that they had to make, because you can't put 50 plus girls on a gym floor and have them spinning weapons and flags. They have also placed first place at 2 competitions. Concert ensembles, we have 3 concert ensembles, 205 students total, our 3 groups. That grew, Dr. Ginder, when did we add the 3rd? Is that 3 years ago? Proud of that, proud of the opportunities that we're able to provide for all of our students at the beginning, intermediate, and advanced level. Consistent gold ratings with distinction, and they have performed 2 years at the Purdue Fort Wayne Wind Fest. And they have ISMA concert band competition coming up as well. All right, a little bit of this got cut off as well. Our jazz ensembles, we have 2, and we have so many students that we are discussing a 3rd jazz ensemble, which is an amazing challenge to have, and well-deserved, and we're really looking forward to that opportunity for our students, beginning through advanced students. One of their, they were able to, one of the new and exciting pieces for the jazz ensemble was they recorded at Sweetwater. And Susan, do you remember the name of the competition that we were?
It's called Essential Ellington, and it comes out of the Lincoln Center. It's a Wynton Marsalis competition, a national competition, and this was the first year we submitted tapes to that competition. It's very difficult to get into, and we did not make it in, but we got very valuable feedback from the judges there, and it's not uncommon to be 2 or 3 years in that rotation before you're recognized and brought to New York to compete against the best in the country. And I have every confidence that we will be there within a decade.
Absolutely. Thank you. They're making their name known for sure. We had a Jazz and Java night, and last year it was performance only, no food sold. It's kind of comical. This year we had it scheduled, and two of those days were days where we had weather and had to postpone. So we are set again for a date in April. That's an exciting evening. Jazz Honors, you'll see there, what Dr. Ginder mentioned, the ISMA State finalists for 3 times, and multiple outstanding soloist awards. Top Honor Band Awards, Jazz 2, gold rating at ISMA, multiple outstanding soloist awards there as well. Our indoor percussion ensemble, this is a group that's in their 2nd year, and they have 35 members. They have performed in 3 competitions. They're getting ready to head into state prelims, and then state finals is that first weekend of our spring break. They have been working hard to offset their costs, $450 per member. To help offset that cost, they have sponsorships, a drumathon, and detergent sales. I think last year I mentioned I'd never seen that large of a drum of detergent before, but I had several in my garage that needed to go to people who purchased those. So they do a good job helping offset those costs. Our dance teams, we have that typo, 36 total. I counted to 36 multiple times 2 weekends ago when we were at nationals. It's one thing to take a group of 6 to Disney World and count to 6 over and over again to make sure you have everybody, but we have lots of great parents that helped me count to 6 over that weekend's time. We have sponsorships, Junior Dance Clinic host competition. We traveled 6 weekends and then hosted 1 weekend, and approximately $500 for student fees. That is not a non-nationals year for a high school dancer. So middle school through high school middle school, every year, it's approximately $500. At the high school, it is approximately $1,500 on nationals years, which we go every other year. To spice things up a little bit this year, I brought a student with me. I'm gonna invite Miss Hannah Johnson up to the microphone to tell her story, and you'll understand why I invited her.
Hello, my name's Hannah Johnson, and I'm a senior. I've been on varsity for all 4 years, and we just started. I know Dr. Gator talked about Champions Together, but just as like a refresher, every Thursday we have the special needs class come down, and we've taught them a dance. We've taught them a few dances, one for Halloween, and like we let them perform it at our invitational, and those students are like the biggest inspiration to all of us. They truly bring so much light into the room, and I have seen them grow so much. Like some of them at the beginning, like a couple years ago, they were so shy and they didn't even want to like talk or dance or anything. And the amount of students I've seen grow, like they are now dancing, like they want to dance by themselves in front of everyone. They come in like laughing and telling jokes. And being in this program alone has led me to the decision to go into special needs education, because it has impacted my life so much. Even though we only meet with them once a week, it has truly inspired me so much. And we got the opportunity to go to nationals this year, which is my second time going to nationals. And Mrs. Radloff, as you talked about, Mrs. Radloff is the teacher for special needs. She had them do a live stream of our dances, and they watched during nationals. And for the rest of the weekend, our motto was, we're going to be dancing for our friends being the special needs students, because they are honestly our #1 supporters, and they inspire us to be better. And we got an award. There's a picture up there. It's called the Go Be Great Award, and I think there was like 17 schools nominated and 5 finalists, and out of those we won the award. It's just recognizing schools who help the community, and yeah, it's really heartwarming to see all of our friends being our #1 supporters. So I would also like to thank everyone that made it possible for us to go to nationals, because it's a lot more than just winning a title, and just seeing how much of an impact we can have on those students is really rewarding. So thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. Any questions for me?
Was this the first time that JV was taken to nationals?
No, so probably the 3rd time that JV has gone to nationals. Thank you for bringing that up, though, because wonderful point. We left off that Woodside was 2nd at state finals, and last year it was flip-flopped. Woodside was 1st, Summit was 2nd. So to have a middle school feeder program, a JV team that is phenomenal and winning awards, 12 seniors that are graduating, that could be a coach's worst nightmare, and yet we know our future is bright. So as with all of the other groups that we have been highlighted tonight, we have amazing adults in the roles, shaping, molding, and mentoring our students. We can't wait to put our terrific students in an amazing building and keep flourishing. So thank you for every opportunity that you make and allow to happen.
And I want to thank the board for their support of the arts. Just in the last 5 years, we were able to add a full-time band director, and then we added 2 art teachers. And as we keep continuing to grow, you're probably going to be asked about other positions, whether it's show choir or drama, but a lot of what you've seen here is a direct result of being able to add people who can make the program grow. Because 8 years ago we had a jazz band, and now we're looking at 3. That's a lot of extra opportunities for kids. The same thing is true of those other competing bands and so forth. So thank you to the board for your commitment.
Right.
And I think Jen's talk and introduction was a perfect segue into our middle school athletics. I'm Megan Culbertson, APAD at Woodside. Good to see you guys 2 weeks later.
And I'm Jason Cordes, the Dean and AD over at Summit.
We're gonna try and ham and egg this and see how it goes, but one thing that we appreciate so much about middle school, and middle school athletics specifically, is being able to have a little bit less pressure and allow a lot of our students to experience athletics while also still having the rigor and the pride that we know is building into our high school athletic and musical artistic programs as well. And we have a really incredible staff of coaches at the middle level, and we'll talk a little bit about some accolades, but very frankly, on the Woodside sheet toward the very bottom, one thing that, if anything, I'm most proud of is that we have around 49% participation in our middle school athletics. And that's not entirely accurate because it counts a couple of kids that do multiple sports, and it compares that participation number with our total student enrollment as of March 8th. But my hope is to get even something closer to 55 or 60% participation, especially if we think about our bigger teams. Something like wrestling, last year we had 21 athletes. We went to 30 athletes this year, something that allows a lot of students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I'm really looking forward to track. We had 150 athletes in our first post-COVID year last year, and I'm anticipating even more. So I think our middle school athletes have in our programs have a lot to offer as well. I don't know if you want to start.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback on the same thing. Our numbers, Summit's a little bit smaller overall, but we still have all the same athletic programs, so our percentage is actually just a hair higher than that. We're real similar. We're at 52% participation, which is just phenomenal. That I know it's not 100% accurate, but really pretty close to every other student in the building is getting some sort of participation in an event. And kind of to mention the same thing and go a little bit further, we've added 2 track coaches this year. I think you guys were part of that through the summer. And our track coaches are incredibly excited about that, to have the additional support and to be able to support. I know our programs continue to grow. We weren't up to that number last year, but we were over 100. I think for the first time ever at Summit last year, we're kind of expecting closer to 120 this year, which is huge for the school. And cross country is the same thing. We grew about 20 kids this year. And just participation just continues to go up and up every year, so it's great to see. We really appreciate that support, specifically on that track side. That is the every season we get parents that ask, and I've got a 6th grade kid and they want to play basketball, a 6th grader that wants to play football, and we're always, hey, when track comes, that's their chance, get in the track. And it's really fun to see all of these kids out there just giving it a try. They have no clue what they're doing. It's their first time out there on the track and throwing a disc or something, but it's pretty exciting to see.
And as a testament to our coaches, just speaking very frankly, we had some frank conversations last spring about 4 coaches with the numbers that we were experiencing. And we talked about the possibility of potentially having to make cuts in track to a non-cut sport. And I presented that to my coaches. And they said, we don't want to cut kids. We love giving kids this opportunity, giving them a chance to try something that maybe they wouldn't normally try. And they were willing to put in the work, and I think that show of faith of those extra coaches allows our programs to continue to thrive without having to make the difficult cutting decisions. So yeah, thank you for that. One thing we wanted to touch on more financially, and then we'll end with some of the fun stuff. If you look at Woodside's financial statement, we offered both for the calendar year, January 1st of 2021 to December 31st of 2021. Obviously, and Mr. Mills, this goes back to your question for Joe. Obviously, we started with $29,975.17 and then ended on December 31st with $45,543.95. As I was parsing over this with my treasurer and we were trying to figure it out and talk about all of the different dynamics we were facing, that balance on January 1st was after a year of really no fans in the stands. So we were still operating all of our athletic programs, which was an incredible privilege. Our kids still got to play and compete, but we didn't have the tremendous gate revenue coming in that we normally see. And then our balance in December 31st, that was after a very strong football season as far as fans, and very frankly, when football started in the fall, we saw more fans than we've seen in probably 5 or 10 years. It was unreal, so exciting. And then we had a really strong showing at our Woodside Summit Jamboree, and just tons of people showing up. I think kids are excited to be back, parents are excited to be back, the community's excited to be back. And so that shows, I think, even a little bit more of a fluctuation. And speaking very frankly as well, I think both Jason and I and Justin Pieper for a little bit before the two of us, going into COVID, and even a big part of this year with all of the unknowns, we were really wanting to be pretty fiscally conservative, not knowing what we were gonna face, because we've all had the bottom drop out from under us, and we didn't want to take too much for granted. But looking forward to this next year, we're looking at new uniforms for volleyball. Track and field and cross country has been so patient with me waiting on uniforms. That's on the docket as well. And I know Joe mentioned they're looking for some high jump mats. We are as well. And those are surprisingly expensive, as it turns out, as so many things in athletics are. So thank you for all of your support. You can see all of the breakdown in the numbers. One more thing that nerdily I was kind of proud of. If you look on the more convoluted sheet, this shows our school year. So this would be the 2020-2021 school year, and compares it with 21-22, so kind of a running year. If you look at some of our differentials for football, the cost per athlete in 2020-2021, which would have been last year, was about $75 a kid. We got that down to $6 a kid. The other thing, boys and girls basketball came in huge for us. We went from a $12 deficit per kid for boys basketball to a $60 surplus. And volleyball was also pretty incredible for us. Last year we had a deficit of $63 a kid. That went up to a profit of $20 per athlete. And then our girls basketball had been in the red per athlete for the last 5 or 6 years, and we were able to get that in the black too. So some exciting things are happening. That's a huge testament to our kids, our coaches, our community, to you guys. So thank you for that. Sorry, that was a lot of numbers.
Yeah, I wanted to talk in Dr. Ginder stole a little bit of my thunder as well, but dance is part of our athletic, it falls under athletics at the middle school level.